You're listening to The Dating Den with dating and relationship badass and best-selling author Marni Batista. Every week, you'll get the raw truth from top experts and real people on the important dating, sex, and relationship issues you want to know about. So if you're ready for true talk that's authentic and unfiltered, and you're not afraid to be called out on your stuff, then you're ready for what's next.
The Dating Den with Chris Gillis, Bachelorette recap. At what point in the dating process should you bring up the sticky issues? Ladies, it's been so damn long since I've been in the dating den with my friend Chris Gillis talking about the Bachelorette. I just honestly feel, Chris, like I have had a Bachelorette cleansing. Like, I am so happy with this episode. I love Katie. I feel like there's just some quality dudes. I feel like she's just telling the producers, fuck off. I'm doing it my way. I'm not doing this for your entertainment TV show. And I think it's coming out a lot better. And I think there's a lot to learn.
Well, for sure. I was actually so impressed by her as well. I was befuddled and scratching my head. I was like, what the hell? Look, why is this episode? I always thought that, the producers, force and talk them into who they can keep and who they, I got to keep the villains on. But no, she seems to be doing her own damn thing. And it's unlike any season that we've seen so far.
I know. And what's crazy is as much as we bashed Claire Crawley for picking Dale after the first week, she may have set a precedent of that the lead has more power to do what they want than they think. And I love what she's doing. And I think it's really interesting. And so, ladies, I was on a vacay and so watched the episodes, came back, got caught up. Because I must admit, I was watching Love Island while I was on my trip.
Really?
I had a few nights of watching some Love Island. But we are here to talk about what we have learned in the last couple of episodes from Katie. And I think the most important thing we could start with is our friend Katie. And this, if you go back and listen to episodes where Chris called it and said the cat guy, a.k.a. Connor, you called it. You're like, that dude is such a bad kisser.
That sounds really bad that I was the one who noticed that.
I know. Why did you notice that? And I was like, really? And then in the end, now here's the thing. Is it that he's a bad kisser or was there just no chemistry? Because in the end, for those of you who don't watch, this guy is really good. He's sweet. She, introduces him to her friends. They have a great date. She really likes him. And in the end, she just feels like there's not chemistry. And I don't think that it's interesting. And she ends up saying to him personally, when he says, well, why did we break up? Which I think is a fair question. She says, it was the kiss. Our kisses just show me that we're lacking something.
That's when I knew, she said. Yeah. And you were out of the country during this Great Nations rebirth, I guess, and for 4th of July. But I watched the Nathan's hot dog eating contest with Joey Chestnut, who crushed 71 dogs. And you know what? Joey Chestnut and Connor have the same eating style / kissing style where they open their jaws up and just grah, grah, grah,
oh my God.
chew on Chady's face. I'm like, dude, this guy, what was he doing? So I felt crappy too because she likes him and he's such a fucking bad. He's a Renaissance man. This guy was right. He's a math teacher 1 minute. Next minute he's
singing.
Fabio, and he's wearing. Yeah, singing, picking up a guitar, making awesome songs. Next thing you know, he's dressed like a dork. And the next thing you know, he's dressed like Fabio and he's got this V-neck. His shirt's all the way open. You see his belly button and his, his pubes. You're like, what in the world? This guy just how many different Connors are there? But in the end, it was all a ruse because he still couldn't, no matter how many, what he threw at her. It's like, you gotta be good at kissing, right, Marni? You have to have that spark, or don't you? Or is there anything you can do? Well, can it be coached through?
I mean, I think honestly, you could, if you really, now look, she has 14 other choices or 7 or 10 other choices.
Yeah.
Okay, so she's like, well, I've got these other 5 guys that I really like, and I don't need to teach them how to kiss, so I'm not going to do it. That being said, if you meet your version of Connor and the kissing is really bad, you can't. And I've interviewed sex experts and lots of people who have, and you can go and listen to them about like lovely ways you can instruct your man on how to be a better kisser, lover, whatever, because men want to make us happy. Yeah.
Dr. Emily and I got a debate about that. And we thought that was just one of those things. It's like, man, there's certain things that they just are the way you are. And have you personally ever kissed somebody and you're like, oh God, I really want sparks. And they were such a bad kisser where you're like, I can't.
No, not really. No. I can't think of anything. No. But what I will say is over time, I've been like to my husband, like, I really like it when you kiss me like this, or I really like that, right? Like, and so I think that you can, not saying like you're a bad kisser, which I don't think well, that's a separate question, but I think that she could have just said, what really turns me on is when you like give me a little kiss first and then you do this. Like that really turns me on. To do it that way, right? Versus saying, but so in the end, I think like he asked for feedback. I don't think you need to say like you're a bad kisser. I think there's lots of more gentler ways to say like there was no chemistry in the end, physical chemistry for me. And so I don't love that she said you're a bad kisser. I feel like that's a trauma, like for a guy. I don't know.
Did you see him when in the end, his big old kitty eyes, and he was like they're all up with tears, and he's sitting down on the couch like, am I really that bad of a kisser? Like, oh no, you are, bro. But why did she have to put you on blast in front of everybody? And what is he going to do now? He's going to be so nervous, and every girl wants to date him. He's going to be like, oh, jeez, he's a bad kisser guy.
Yeah. So I think you can say it like, here's what I love. Here's what really turns me on. If you're not dating 5 other amazing guys and you have someone that really you want, like everything about them is amazing, I think it's worth doing a little coaching. And then if they can't or they won't, then it's probably not a match.
I thought you were going to say no to be coachable on kissing because, that's just like the way a person moves or dances or whatnot. But I thought you were going to say yes, coachable like in bed because then, there's like little buttons that he can press on his gal to just kind of get her there. And hopefully, it's more, I guess there's more room to, you're not so close and personal. There's more room to aim and change direction and stuff. But I don't know, man. If your gal says it.
I mean, look, if you think about a long-term relationship, and now you and Dr. Emily have been together for what, like a year and a few months, year and a half?
Two and a half.
2.5 years?
2.5, maybe, yeah.
Shit. God, time flies.
I know.
You do less and less kissing, generally speaking, over the course of a relationship. True. You still have sex, but kissing is like dwindles. So when you look at it that way, like let's say you're going to be with this person for 40 years and you don't end up with them because like they weren't a great kisser, but they're everything else. Yeah. Like, maybe not a good move, right? So I think it's worth diving into at least. And if you do end up breaking up with someone, please don't tell them it's because they're a bad kisser. Just say it was the chemistry was not there.
Do you think you can be in a relationship with somebody who you don't like kissing? Because I was, and I just didn't kiss her. And it was pretty nuts now when I think about it because I love kissing Emily so much. And it was awesome. I just avoided it, and very rarely she would bring it up. I did feel like, and I did try to coach, and I'm sure I was an asshole about it and didn't do it as gently, but so I just didn't do it, and she'd bring it up every once in a while. I tried, and it just seems like that's the way, I don't know, someone dances or likes to dress, and that's just like their shtick.
I don't know. I think if you were going to coach Connor and you're like, dude, don't get like all up over her. Like you're teaching somebody.
Sure.
Nobody teaches you how to kiss, right? I mean, so, I don't know. I think it's worth the conversation, but like, I would never say to you, stay with that person, even though you're not a good kissing match. Okay, let's move on. So go ahead.
How effed up is it though on that same note, a slight little tangent is, so she's like, I want to see if there's chemistry, right? And so no, she didn't choose the cool date where she's with Andrew, the black dude who I love, the
Love
football
him.
player, where they're like I know his energy, his smile is so awesomely infectious. And they're running out there, and there's like they walk into the forest, and there's all these cards hanging it up, and they're picking them down. That's a cool way to get to know if there's chemistry or man. I felt like she set, or the producers, if it's true, like set him up for failure, and they took him on a freaking double date.
Yeah, that wasn't a really one-on-one date. I agree.
No.
I agree. I said, wait, this isn't a one-on-one date. It's like a couple date with these randos.
Right.
Where you just be so distracted by Caitlin Bristow's plastic surgery. I don't know how you like have.
Dude, I'm so glad you brought that up. I was like, oh, I might bring this up, Marty. Ladies, and I think I speak for all men on earth. Less is so much more. I'm looking at her older pictures, and they're all circulating now. I'm like, she was an attractive gal, and now something just changed, and it just has that weird artificial lip. Like, what do you keep doing, babe? And it's not like she was a burn victim or something like that and needed it. She just kept going and going and going. Like, ladies, who are you doing this for? At some point.
Yeah, don't do it
why?
for men. It's so. What's interesting is, I've been watching Love Island. For those of you who watch, there's a new season anyway, and these women get so decked out. But it's like Big Brother in that you see them at night before bed. They take all their makeup off, and some of these women wear so much makeup they literally don't even look the same at all. And in this most recent episode, there are two blonde women. One is natural, like 100% natural, like not a fake thing on her. And then there's this other blonde girl who's 100%, everything about her is fake. Her boobs, her lips, her hair, fake extensions, whatever. And this very handsome dude comes in, and he's had to kiss. This is so brutal. He had to make out with the person he thought was the most attractive and the person he thought was the least attractive. And he picked the blonde girls, and he was most attractive to the natural one, and he was least attractive to the one who was trying to make herself look like the other girl in her distorted mind's eye. Like, she thinks that's what a hot blonde is, right? Is what this other woman looked like, who's really natural. But she so manipulated her bits that in the end, this guy's actually thinks she's the least attractive person in the show right now because she's got so much fake. And so, less is more. That's just a little thing. I'm glad that you said that.
We lose our trust, and we're like, oh shit, I don't know. I have no idea. I'm just gonna go. I know for a fact this natural blonde girl is what is it. And on that same idea, what in the world is going on with Katie's eyelashes? That, like, she's got these fake eyelashes. They cover like 3/4 of her eye or 2/3 of her eye, and the rest of the big old gaps missing on there. Like, that's just another thing. As a guy, and she's a cute girl. I'm just like, that drives me fucking nuts. It's like, so my butterflies like died on top of her eyelids, and there's like stuck there, like.
It's too much. And for those of you, so look, here's the thing. I think the most important thing you said, and before you get mad at me, is if you've got plastic surgery and you think I don't like you, that's not true. What I think Chris is saying is, who are you doing it for? Right? And if you are changing your appearance to be who you think what men find attractive, or you think that you'll be more lovable or more whatever, right? It's like Courtney Cox. I read an interview with her recently because she started pulling out and trying to undo everything that she's done. And she said she was totally doing it for the wrong reasons. She couldn't see herself anymore. And so, as opposed to Lisa Kudrow, who's done nothing. Yeah. Who looks real great. Okay, let's not talk about that anymore.
Jamie Lee Curtis as well. Jamie Lee Curtis is, she's vowed not to, go with Hollywood's demands and she just keeps it real.
She keeps it real. Okay, let's talk about this. Okay, we have to talk about this. Now, there was a little challenge that the men were given, the WOWO challenge. A week off, no wanking off, okay? And I thought, this is so random and weird, but whatever. Okay. So my mind was blown when these guys were talking about how often they jerk off. And I literally, educate me. Is that just because they're all in their 20s and they're just like horny motherfuckers? Or do men really need to do that? Like that one guy's like once in the morning, once after work, once before sleep. Is that appropriate? I mean, can you please?
Weekends he goes crazy.
Yeah, can you please educate us? Because I had no idea.
I hate to say this, and it's on here, it's recorded, but I have coached many a men and said, absolutely get rid of all those bullets in your gun before you go out on a date, because especially if you like her, because we just get in this sex fog thing, and you girls just, you take longer to get going and to want to hook up and do it and get all crazy with us. And in like 15 minutes in, 20 minutes in, we become dumb animals. We lose all our game plan, everything that we did, all the coolness, all the suaveness, and we lose it all. And Marni, there is something to say about, getting the poison out of the snake, out of the viper's fangs, and being able to calm and relax, and then actually see the girl, the woman for who she is, and ask questions, and not just be staring at her top or her butt. Just, your mind constantly going, I'm sorry, Marni, you set the bar low.
Well, I think it's a really good thing to know, because I literally said to my husband, I was like, what? I was like joking. I was like, I thought it was just you. I thought it was just you.
Uh-huh.
And he's like,
Nope.
No, it's not. But I think this is a really important thing, because I think that when women hear men talking about, or they find, oh my God, my boyfriend looks at porn, or my guy's jerking off, or my guy thinks that they take it personally. And I really want everyone to hear, this is not that you don't satisfy them, or that you're not enough, or that you're not, or that he's a pervert, or that, he's got issues, right? Like, I read a stat that men think about sex every 7 seconds.
Yeah.
And based on what I learned from the show and now this conversation, is that's probably really true.
It is. And so on the converse, and I'm curious. So do women never, it's not a game plan where you're telling girls, hey, so you don't want to jump his bones.
No.
Take care of yourself before. God damn it.
I mean, I'm not a sex expert or anything, but I've never had any. No, we're all like talking about how to get in the mood. Yeah.
Huh. Yeah, you probably wouldn't even want to go on the date with us at all. but
let's just cuddle.
Like you're saying, no. The point is, it's like, it is, believe it or not, it's because we're nervous and we like you. We don't want to screw it up and say some stupid shit. So we do try to clear our minds often. And like I said, I've talked to dozens of friends who I've given that same advice, because they were so excited and they're so turned on, and they're like, but they just don't trust themselves. So think of it. It's like putting a leash on your dog.
Oh my God.
He's usually a good boy, but just in case.
I love it. Okay. Good to know. We learned so much here at the Dating Den. Okay. Right. Let's talk about this. This comes up all the time, but one thing that I love about Katie is that whenever there is a guy whereby there's drama, she believes it, and whether it's a gut check and she can trust her intuition, or the guys establish credibility when they all unilaterally vetoed somebody off the island. But she is just like not having any shit. And I wondered in the episode when she went and she called Connor's name. Now they've done that twice. So they need to not do that device anymore, because now we know she did it with the other guy. We were like, oh my God, is she going to ask him for a rose? And then she called him up and said, get out of here. And then last night or Monday night, she said, Hunter, and he came like, I need to have a chat with you. When she said, I was looking for clarity, I think this is interesting, because if there's a guy that you're dating and he does something questionable, or you have some doubts, and you say, well, I want to have a conversation and get some clarity, what the hell do you think she was needing from Hunter to say? Like, what could anything have changed? Like, what does she mean when she says, I want to get clarity? Or was she just confirming that she wanted to get rid of him? Or was it just a plot device to get us to keep watching?
No, I think, I was noticing that too. I was like, what? She did not ask the questions that seemingly would have given her clarity. I think she was waiting for him to do like a Hail Mary, or like maybe there's something big that she's missing. I feel like she wanted some affirmation, just to double check an affirmation. And it was a pretty cool plot device. My jaw dropped. I was like, no, when he called her up, when she called him up there. So I think she wanted to make sure she was trusting her gut, right? Give him one last chance. And he didn't say anything.
He really didn't, did he? He just said he was like, I don't really know what I can say to defend myself.
Yeah, I didn't like that. That was like, oh, really? That you're giving up that easy? Not like 100%. Yeah, not like, babe, no matter what I'm telling you, look into my eyes, like grabbing her by arms. Like he didn't sell. He seemed kind of annoyed. He's like, believe him or not, I don't, do what you got to do, sort of thing. And then she's like, okay, I've made enough my decision. So
maybe, which is interesting too, because it's revealed. I was like dying when he's like, he's a super fan. He comments on the blogs. He's like the golden leprechaun or whatever the hell his little screen name is. He totally lied twice, right? Because he said like, I see us in the top 4 to Connor or to Greg, and then to the drag queens. He fully said like, I can't say that I'm in love. So he lied. And
did they edit? Do you think they edited the? Remember that drag queen? It was supposed to be like a freaking fun roast. And do you think that ABC was like, we don't want to get any back, Ash for being mean, so that they edited it all out? And they're like, well, shit, they wanted to edit it all, but they just kept the tiny little bit of it. Nobody did
it. None of them. Yeah, it looked like nobody did it, and it was just stupid. Yeah, I didn't like that, but I love Monet Exchange because I used to watch RuPaul's Drag Race, and she won.
Jeremy used to work on that show.
Yeah, she won one year, Monet Exchange, and she was like really, really good. So anyway, yeah, that was yeah. So ladies, when you go in and you're saying like you have doubts and you want to get clarity, make sure that you have really good questions, and then in the end, like if a guy isn't being straight up, if he's just saying, well, I'm not going to defend, or some men will start to make you feel bad. Like, why are you questioning me? Why don't you trust me? If you have a feeling and you're hearing other people say, I think this guy isn't great for you, like, listen. And I think Katie's doing a great job of taking all of that into context. She's making, I call it holistic decision making or holographic decision making. She's like using her emotions, she's using her intellect, and then she's also just trusting her gut. And I really like the way she's just booting these guys that are douchey. They can't keep a villain on the show.
No, she does. Yeah, that's true. I'm still not as optimistic as you seem to be on her decision. I feel like something's going to. She's done a good job now, but I feel like the producers somehow they're going to set it up and expose, her insecurity or her. She does seem to get, I guess, riled easily when she hears something bad about somebody. So in the end, yes, she doubles down and she goes for her. But I guess she get flustered. I suppose is what I'm trying to say. She does seem to get easily flustered, but then she gathers herself, goes for her wise counsel of Caitlin Bristow and Tayshia. And they figured it out.
Oh, that makes me so sad. Yes. So she's down now. So then also, weren't you surprised that she kept rando firefighter Brendan, but got rid of the guy whose role in the last episode was the narrator with the slick back hair? Jeremy's like, why do you keep calling him the narrator? I'm like, because he is basically describing what's going on. They're using him to be the narrator, but I thought he was going to stick around because they're suddenly giving him a big role, but she picked Brendan, the firefighter. Why?
I didn't even know. Yeah, Brendan, until we what is this guy with the big rooster hair guy, right?
Yeah.
The one guy with, it came out of nowhere. That was really strange. I think, again, kind of like what I'm saying, like, I feel like she threw the baby out with the bathwater and didn't like the messengers who were part of asking her, flustering her again, like with the Hunter thing.
Well, that's fair. You're right. She got rid of the guys who came to her and said, this guy's a jerk.
Yeah. Aaron guy, I like, who's always like pissed off. I loved him. He was always like upset. And the big guy, remember him?
Yep.
Aaron from San Diego. He was always upset about, pissed off and annoyed. He's always annoyed at somebody. And then gosh damn, forgetting his name, the black guy with the
Trey. I liked him. Yeah.
Trey. Yeah, I know. And all the guys, and then the turtleneck turtleneck box guy who we don't even know his name. Such interesting hair, by the way. It's another side note.
That was really bizarre.
World. There were the three people, the horsemen, and she was like, nope. She's got rid of them and took out the trash and threw Hunter in there as well. And it's like, so I mean, did they screw up? Do you think, Marni, by trying to what seemed like came from good intentions? Hey, I'm telling you, you need to, were they too pushy?
Here's what I think.
Too soon?
I think, so we're not there, so we don't know what's really going on. But my guess is when Connor got sent home, the guys were like, wow, they cried. It was so cute.
Right.
But they were all like, wow, they said, you know it's going to end soon, but you don't know when. And I think that my guess is there's a lot of them that know they're not going to be the guy. Yeah. They're barely they just know. And so I think that some of them are taking one for the team. I mean, and that's what I think Trey said. He's like, you know what? I stand behind what I did. I could have used my time to talk about me and not these guys. But I think part of them knows they're not going to be the guy, and they really do care about her, and they need to just say what they need to say. And so I think in some ways they're just sort of like taking one for the team. Because in the end, I don't know if she would have figured that out for herself about Hunter or not. I honestly don't think he was as big of a contender as he thinks he was. I mean, I think right now, if you were going to say who is the top 4 or 3, who do you think it is?
This is my hot take. I think that, and you said it a second ago, I think that Katie is pulling a more well thought out, pulling a more mentally stable version of Claire. And I think that she just kind of wants to fast forward and figure out between Greg, who always has the resting sad face, and Blake. And I'm afraid I don't know. Maybe we'll see if Andrew. I think Andrew's not gonna make it either. But I feel like she just wants to hurry up and fast. Also, I felt like she's like they flushed the toilet and kicked all those guys off. Remember, she didn't give them roses. I feel like she just wants to hurry up because this is too confusing. Again, I think she gets flustered, doesn't like which I can imagine, treading water with that doubt, and wants to just get down to her core guys, get rid of all the placeholders, and just really figure out who
she likes. Yeah. I think it's I mean, I think it's Greg.
Yeah.
I think it's Greg. I think she's Greg. I just think that she said she's falling for him, number one. I just think they've had a connection the entire time. I think he keeps showing up. I think the Blake thing is just sex and passion. She says, we have chemistry. I don't know if we have more. They gave us a little teaser that maybe he leaves anyway. And I think Andrew is great. One thing that I loved about Andrew, by the way, which I think I put in our text chat, is I love that he just said, look, I'm a black guy, you're a white girl. There's going to be some shit going down. Are you up for that? And he didn't make it dramatic, and he didn't have to be like, let me educate you, and you need to he was just like, it's not easy. Are you down? And she's from Seattle, not Georgia, whatever, she just comes from a place where I believe her, it's not an issue. But I really think that that's a great example. And we talked about that during Tayshia's season of, that's like their, second, third date, whatever it is, if you're going to pursue this, then you need to have those conversations. And ladies, it's like, do you want to have kids? I'm Catholic, you're Hindu. What would we do about that? I really believe that those conversations, you need to be courageous and have them and just deal with it, because it's not going to go away, and you don't want to be further down the line and then have to deal with it. So I applaud Andrew for a really amazing conversation and being really brave about it. And I just think it was handled really, really well. And it's just, again, if there's some stuff, don't save it, bring it up, have a conversation. If they're not your person, sooner rather than later.
Yeah. What about if somebody brings something up like Hunter did, and like the other gentleman did, who's got the kind of nerdy guy who's got kids? That's kind of big, right? To be all of a sudden, to go there to get married, and you end up, becoming a stepmom as well, to really think those through and to.
Yeah, I think it's important to say those things. And I think ladies with kids, they try and hide it. I coached somebody on this show before who I don't understand why I'm meeting guys who don't want to have kids. I'm like, well, do you talk about your kids at all or your life? She was like, no. Well, so, if you have kids, if you don't want to have kids, put it out there. There's ways to do it, if it's in your profile, because we've both chosen not to have children. We blah, 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 blah. We love the freedom that we have. Don't hide behind the things that make you are really important to you. And you don't need to catch all the fish. You need to catch one fish. So don't be ashamed of your needs and just talk about it. That's my advice. That's my advice. Okay, last thing before we go. When you look at, and this kind of follows up to what you said before, she just wants to get it over with. And I think in the end, she's just going to pick Greg, and that's going to be it. Because I think my prediction is...
Are they going to last?
Yeah,
he
maybe.
He seems like a sulker, though.
No, I don't. You know what? I don't know if he's a sulker or he just doesn't really want to play this game.
True. I've said that. That would be horrible, dude. Watching all these guys make out with. Imagine maybe not fucking with Love Island or whatever. Watching all these chicks make out with Jeremy nonstop. And you're like, ugh.
Yeah, no, it wouldn't be fun. And I think that she's got that. She keeps saying my worst fear is that you're going to leave. I think his resting sad face is probably like, these aren't my people. When you go out with friends, but you know that maybe you've outgrown those friends or they're not your friends, but you go and you're just the whole time you're just judging them and you don't like yourself for judging them. And then you're like, why did I say yes? I really only like Jeff. And, but I just agreed to go out with Jeff.
When I come over for to hang out with you?
No, not at all. I have a lot of women. I know a lot of clients and women that they get asked to go out on these girl night things, and there's one or two of the women that are really annoying, and they just go, even though they know that Jeff or Julie or whatever her name is really annoying, and the whole time they end up just being like, God, she's annoying. God, she's annoying. She's so annoying. And then they don't have a good time. They're like, why did I go? I should have just told Pam, I'd love to see you. Let's just have lunch and not do a group thing.
Yeah.
So all that to say, I feel like he's just like, oh my God, I hate this drama. I really love this girl. I think she's into me. I think he's just he's just powering through.
Yeah. Just doing his best to wait it out.
Because he seems confident, and I like that he's vulnerable and he's like, here's the other thing. This is a great thing to end on. I love when he just said, she said, what's going on with you? How are you feeling? And he was like, I really like you. And he's like, how are you? And then she paused and he was specific and he said, how are you feeling about us? Again, that's courageous. That is vulnerable and courageous. And she said, well, I actually am falling for you. And then he was like, cool, we're on the same page. I can keep playing this game.
Yeah.
So I love, I really, Tayshia did this too. And so I really am liking the real conversations that I think as someone who is listening to this show, that there's a lot of things that I would say, yes, in real life, do those things, have those conversations, be specific, be courageous, dump the guy. If you get pink flags, you don't need for them to be freaking stark raving red. Get rid of them. Say no, bless and release. I think there's a lot of really good stuff and I'm excited. I think the season is going to come to an abrupt halt. I do think she's going to pick Greg and I don't even know if we'll get to hometowns because there's been no previews of hometowns.
Dude, you're right. Good. Yeah, you always you suss out all. You're impossible to surprise. Good Lord, you're right. No,
but,
I wonder if she's gonna call it. Yeah.
I don't know. I just don't see any previews of hometowns.
Yeah.
And they keep talking about it, so it must be soon in theory. So yeah. I don't know.
What you said about Greg, everybody should do that. And you're right. That's such a brave, vulnerable, but strong thing to do. Is just to ask and not and not to like lead her on and sit there and expect, but just have an open-ended question. Say, yeah, like I said, how are you feeling about us? And he wasn't doing that thing like that the other guy who they kicked off, the manipulative sales, guy who's like trying to suss out what he wanted to hear. He seemed like, he just leaned back, looked his little sad face, and he just waited for her to break his heart or not, and she didn't. And so good for him for saying that. Good for her for taking a pause. I like how she took a second.
Yeah.
Instead of just like, I like you too. She really sat there, processed it to show him that she's sincerely taking it in and thinking about his question and giving him a very heartfelt, honest answer.
Yep. It's good. There's good shit happening in Bachelor Nation. We're super. If they could just get rid of Caitlin Bristow and Tasha, sign me up. So we'll see what's going to happen.
I don't know if we need them both.
We do not need them both. When they both come in for the rose ceremony, it's so awkward. Anyway, we got to go. We got to keep it short today in the Dating Den. Chris, I am so excited about next week. I love you. Let's catch up, and we'll see you soon, ladies. And no matter whatever you do it with some damn dignity. We'll see you next time. Bye. Hey, thanks for tuning into today's show. So if being in an intimate relationship in which you feel 100% seen, heard, and accepted by a high caliber man is a priority for you right now, and you're interested in seeing if you're a fit for working with me and my team at Dating with Dignity, here's what I want you to do. Just head over to DWD VIP. That's D as in dating, W, D as in dating, VIP.com, and book a call to speak with my team. We'll get on the phone with you for about 60 minutes, and you'll get crystal clear on what's stopping you from finding true love right now. We'll also take a look at what you want to create, what you want your whole life to look like when you're able to finally be fully expressed as a woman in a healthy relationship with an incredible guy. And if we can help you get from where you are right now to where you want to be, we will show you the fastest path possible that makes sense for you to do that. We help smart, successful women all over the world solve this one missing piece in their life so they can finally have it all. So to see if we can help you do the same thing, head over to DWDVIP.com. I'm Marni Batista, and let's talk soon.